A woman has been charged for wearing a burqa in Denmark.
The national ride and
Las Vegas on Saturday.
Jean-Luc Picard is back.
A major earthquake rocking Indonesia's Lombok Island. Guinness has just opened a new brewery in the U.S.
Well, good morning. 6:09 is the time here on this Monday morning, August the 6th, 2018. You are listening to Mike and Bonnie in the morning. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Mike and Treasure Coast. Welcome to our show on a Monday. Hope everybody's fine.
Yep. Hope everybody out there had a good weekend. How was your weekend there, Bonnie?
Not very entertaining. Well, I did pay my bills.
Well, that's good.
I was positive, and I bought Lotto and Scratch Off.
All right.
And so I won a free ticket on Fantasy 5 because I got 2 number matches.
Wow.
Yeah, and a whole $4 on my Scratch Offs. So I did pretty well.
Good. Good deal.
Actually, for one time, when you do Fantasy 5, you pay the extra $2 and you can do Easy Match.
Okay.
So if one of 5 numbers below matches the numbers that you chose for Fantasy 5, you win that instantly. And with an 8, I won a whopping $3.
Wow. Hey, it's $3 more than you had.
Yeah, you always wish it could be something more substantial like $50 or $100. And then when you see that number match up, you're like, ooh, what did I win here? All right, $3. And then you're like, oh, bummer.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody out there had a good weekend. We've got lots of stuff to get to here this morning. Some housekeeping. Our website is live. We got that posted over the weekend. Cliff did a good job of getting that connected there. So you can go and check out our new webpage. Go to WSTU1450.com. We've got links to listen live to our new web streaming, which is right there, which I think is fantastic. You can listen to it on your cell phone, on your computer. You could be anywhere that you have a solid internet connection, and maybe even it sounds better than it does over the radio airwaves. Who knows? But that's WSTU1450.com. We've got our links to listen live. We've got our full schedule available up there. We've got our sports schedule for the week posted. We've got our high school sports schedule posted. We're going to have a link once we get closer to make it easier for people to join our football pick'em league, which hopefully we're going to be getting started up again here in the next couple of weeks, because the first preseason games are Thursday for all the teams besides the Hall of Fame game. And we're about a month away. Actually, I think we're exactly 1 month away from the start of the NFL regular season. I'm pretty sure the first game is Thursday, September 6th. So 1 month from today, and we are in football season, baby.
Oh, we're just getting so excited for it. And with high school football starting, I was heading out of Palm City yesterday after work, and, I felt bad that I didn't even have time to stop. But the Martin County High School boys football team in that area were holding a car wash. So I saw all these young men holding up the car wash signs,
Nice.
right around High Meadow. And I had to get to people where I had to take care of, so I didn't have time to stop. Lord knows, though, my car does need a car wash.
Mm-hmm.
But saw them out and about, raising a little funds for their work. And I'm sure those boys are, just very excited to get the football season underway, too. And maybe a little bit of pressure there. I know when I used to play high school sports, there was always that a little bit of anticipation about, getting back with the players and the first game. And, of course, the tryouts and getting physically fit and ready.
Yeah. We're going to have plenty of Martin County football games broadcast this fall. Our high school schedule starts end of this month. We've got August 24th is our first high school football game. That's going to be South Fork at Jensen Beach. Our first Martin County game will be on Friday, September 7th. And then we do 4 weeks of Martin County football in a row. We're going to have basically the entire month of September is going to be Martin County football games, ending on September 28th with the Martin Bowl, South Fork at Martin County this year. And then we will be back at Martin County High School, of course, towards the end of October. They have a big district game against Melbourne that could determine which of those teams makes it to the playoffs. So we'll be excited to be out there for that. You can see our entire schedule on our new website, WSTU1450.com. I was, also while we're at it, while we do the housekeeping, make sure to go to Facebook, facebook.com/WSTU1450, and make sure to like and follow us there. Facebook notifications can sometimes get a little weird, and I don't know necessarily the algorithm they use for some of their things, because every once in a while you'll just get an alert and it'll say, so-and-so from your contacts is on Facebook. Why don't you friend them? And I always assume when I get that notification that it's somebody that I've had extensive contact with at some point via email or some type of, somehow they have to know that the two of us are connected in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And I got one of those alerts over the weekend, and it was from a name that was really familiar. I'm like, I think I went to college with this person. And I don't know about you, but anytime I stumble across somebody that I went to college with on social media, I have to cyber stalk them for a little bit, just a little bit. You got to go in the usual. Did they get fat? How are they doing? Or do they have a better job than I do?
Do guys do that too?
Of course.
Did you just say, did they get fat?
Did they get fat? do they have a better job than I do? You got to go in and got to start comparing. So I go in and I'm cyber stalking this person, and they don't look familiar on the pictures. I'm trying to find, did they even go to college? Whatever. I'm basically going all over their Facebook page like a total creep, trying to figure out, how do I know this person? Why would Facebook tell me that I should be friends with this person online? And I go into my email and I finally type their name in there, and the two of us have exchanged exactly one email. One email over the years. They were looking for, it was a business related email too. So it was just like, it was one of those one and done type things. And I wasted probably 10 minutes trying to cyber stalk him and trying to figure out, why do I know this person? Why would Facebook want us to be connected?
Did you figure out, and then did the light bulb come on? And
no, I found a business related email between the two of us. So they just saw one email shared between the two of us and said, no, they must be friends.
Oh.
Let's connect them on Facebook.
Here, I thought you were going to have like a big remembrance, like, oh yeah, that's who it was from my past. And it was going to be like a big shining moment. But it was just someone that you just maybe talked to very briefly in the past.
I've had those moments where going through on social media and I stumble across somebody that I went to college with, and it's always a cool moment, and then there's the feelings of self-doubt that creep in, like, oh man, they've got a better job than I do, and oh, they're more successful than I am. Oh, I can't believe this. I got to go work harder. And then nothing changes, but whatever. I had that happen recently with some of the fantasy football people that I follow, and on Twitter, I follow a lot of the CBS Sports fantasy football guys, and I don't know, I was just happening to like reading one of the threads that they had posted, and there was a picture on there that I recognized. I'm like, I went to college with this guy, and I started clicking. I realized he worked with them, and I don't know exactly what he does with CBS Sports, but it sounds like it's a pretty cool job. Yeah. Something like cameraman or running around videotaping all of the different sporting events around the state of Florida. It's a pretty cool job.
Being in this business too, Mike, the years go by so fast, and you run into so many people throughout the years that, then when you see them on Facebook, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot all about her. I forgot all about him. Mm-hmm. And even years ago in my early 20s, there was a young man that I dated. I went out on a date, and he was a young, charming meteorologist. Even. And I think he was either Japanese or Chinese meteorologist. Yes. But a long time
I don't
ago,
think he would appreciate being either or.
But a long time ago, we had gone out on a date, but it's just like the years go by so fast, and like you forget, people that you meet, and everybody that you met. There are so many out there that you just forgot about. And then boom, their image shows up on Facebook, or there they are somewhere, and you're like, oh my.
I don't understand how people have such good memories of when they were kids or high school or even, college is a little bit better for me to understand because you're full on, you're at least adults in a sense when you're in college. But there are people that they could tell you the first and last names of everybody in their 5th grade classroom.
Isn't that amazing?
And I just don't understand how that is possible.
Well,
I barely even remember the face. I don't remember anybody from my 5th grade class except for the people that I was actually friends with. And even then, I'm like, all right, there's Matt that was down the street. There was this other weird kid who was 2 streets down. There was the sickly kid who was down at the end of the street. It's I kind of vaguely remember what was happening back then. And then there are other people that can give you an entire dissertation on what happened on one particular day in the summer of 75.
Isn't that something? How many kids were in your 5th grade class then? Was it a matter of there's just so many kids, tons of kids, or your memory is just a little bit forgetful there?
That's just my memory. I guess I didn't take it in enough.
Oh,
when I was a kid.
And this wasn't even on social media, how I remember this meteorologist that I went out with a date with, Mike. I had been watching TV one day, and I think I might have been watching the Weather Channel or something.
Yeah.
He didn't make it there, but for some reason they had to pan out to him on site somewhere. And I'm pointing at the TV. I remember that. I remember that dude. And I'm like, wow, but it's just phenomenal. The people you meet, and with the time going by, you just can't remember, everyone, and you should remember everything, but sometimes you just can't.
Did you immediately cyberstalk that person?
No, I didn't. I figure years go by, and sometimes, people tend to, get a wife, get a family, maybe wives and families wouldn't really appreciate that much. So, some things you just have to let lie.
6:21 is the time here this morning. We've got Treasure Coast News coming up next. A man accused of killing a woman in a DUI crash will not be facing charges because the state missed the filing deadline. WPTV's Megan McRoberts has the details.
If you're arrested and you're accused of a crime, you have a right to a speedy trial. What this means is that the state has to meet certain deadlines for filing charges, getting your case to trial to abide by law. A judge ruled that the state missed a major deadline, which means that this accused deadly drunk driver won't ever have to go to trial, and he'll never even have to face these charges again.
September 1st of last year, 55-year-old Carla Smith and 2 other passengers were driving through Fort Pierce when police said this man, Waldron Brown, was drunk and driving more than 70 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. He's accused of running a stop sign and crashing into Smith's car, killing her. But now in question, when was Brown actually put under arrest? That confusion leading to his charges being dropped. Body camera video from the day of the crash shows Waldron in handcuffs. And when in the hospital, he's put under arrest, according to audio from the cameras.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol or a chemical substance.
They searched my client's pockets. They went into his pockets and took the contents out. You can't do that if the person's not under arrest.
Speedy Trial says charges must be filed by the state within 175 days. But the state didn't file charges until this spring.
I can't explain why they didn't file until April, other than the state attorney who had the case dropped the ball.
A judge agreed with Milton and dropped the case.
He can never be charged criminally in the future for this case.
We reached out to the assistant state attorney on the case, who said they took a position that they didn't have to file charges until after an arrest warrant was served for Brown in March. While Brown was put under arrest in September, police reversed the arrest shortly after. But to a judge, that did not matter. Milton says overall it's a disappointing way to win a case.
Kind of all around sad. I think for the citizens, for, the victim's family.
The state is appealing this judge's decision. Milton is also claiming that her client Brown's rights were violated by not getting a speedy trial. So she's also pursuing legal action against that concern. I'm Megan McRoberts, WPTV News Channel 5.
Veteran shuttle astronaut Suni Williams has a new assignment. She was named Friday to the Boeing Starliner's first active mission. As a veteran of shuttle and space station missions, she's thrilled to be getting involved in the next chapter of on-orbit operations.
I'm just really excited that we're actually going to be able to take these spacecraft and show them off to our international partners, have them ride with us to the International Space Station. Then that's going to help all of us understand a little bit more about how we live and work in space, and further on for our next program, Orion and SLS. So there's a lot to be done, and we're just the beginning.
The Crew Dragon will have its first manned test flight in April of next year. The Starliner's first manned test flight should come a few months later. The July jobs report is out, and the nation's unemployment rate ticked lower, down to 3.9%. The economy added 157,000 jobs last month, lower than the forecast of 190,000, but University of Central Florida economist Sean Snaith says monthly job growth numbers can be affected by specific events.
If you start to look into the details by sector, you saw there was a 30,000 plus loss of jobs in the sector that would include Toys R Us, which shut down operations I believe in June or late May.
Well, Dr. Snaith says he's still looking for an acceleration in wage and salary growth, which he calls the missing piece of the puzzle. A key Everglades restoration project is moving ahead of schedule. Governor Rick Scott's office says construction on a project in West Miami-Dade County will begin by the end of the year. The S333 project will allow more water to move south of Lake Okeechobee, meaning fewer harmful discharges into river estuaries. As we continue into August, the tropics are looking pretty clear. Now, last week, Colorado State University updated their prediction for the season. They say that cool water temperatures, dry air, and strong wind shear is expected to keep hurricane activity slightly below average this year. The forecast says to expect 12 named storms this year, 5 hurricanes, and only 1 major hurricane. There have already been 3 named storms: Subtropical Storm Alberto, Hurricane Beryl, and Hurricane Chris. While it's been quiet so far, late August through September is historically peak hurricane season. Well, if you got stuck with a bank fee because the SunPass charge hit your checking account at the wrong time, administrators say they plan to help you out. SunPass says it will have information soon on how to deal with those bank fees accrued because of the system errors after SunPass tried to update their system. That's a look at Treasure Coast News here this morning. It is 6:27.
Well, we don't have any accidents to report. Just in the area of I-95 southbound in Fort Pierce, that area, some road construction. Traffic patterns seem to be always changing there. The left lane is blocked for construction. Use caution. Call if you see traffic at 220-WSTU.
Treasure Coast weather.
Stewart 79 and weather brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Code Red Roofers cares, calls you back, shows up, and finishes on time. Call 287-2829. Let's get more at WPTV.
It's 6:30. Here's FNN News. Taking a look at sports, Marlins up in Philadelphia over the weekend as Drupal Cabrera yesterday hitting a tie-breaking 2-run homer in the 8th inning as the surging Philadelphia Phillies completed a 4-game sweep of the Marlins with a 5-3 win yesterday. Miami never led on Sunday. They trailed 3-0 going into the 7th when they scored 3 runs to tie it, but that was as close as they would get. So with 2 months left to go in the regular season for baseball, let's take a quick look at the standings in the American League. Boston Red Sox are in lead in the East. They have a 9.5-game lead over the New York Yankees. In the American League Central, it's the Cleveland Indians on top. They have a 9-game lead over the Minnesota Twins. The Houston Astros lead the American League West. They have a 4-game lead over the Oakland Athletics. Wild card race, Yankees and Athletics are in the lead there. They have a 2.5-game lead over the Seattle Mariners and a 10.5-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. National League East, Philadelphia Phillies now, thanks to that 4-game sweep over the Marlins, have a 1.5-game lead in the East over the Atlanta Braves. So Washington is 6 games behind. In the NL Central, it's the Cubs with a 1-game lead over the Milwaukee Brewers. And in the West, the Diamondbacks and LA Dodgers are tied, both of them with a 2-game lead over the Colorado Rockies. The wild card race in the National League, Brewers and Braves are in the lead there. They have a half-game lead over the Diamondbacks and Dodgers and a 2.5-game lead over the Colorado Rockies. Big college football story has been the investigation of Urban Meyer by Ohio State. He was placed on paid administrative leave. An investigation is now being done into Urban Meyer's handling of the domestic violence complaint against one of his former assistants. The school announced last night that they expect that investigation to be completed within 2 weeks. Dolphins training camp over the weekend. The defense continues to dominate the offense. Cameron Wake and Robert Quinn had their participation limited, so Charles Harris got a chance to shine. He was able to produce 2 sacks on the day, including one where he would have blindsided Ryan Tannehill had it been for real and probably produced a strip sack in the process. That's a look at sports here on WSTU.
Man, I listen to too much hip-hop. It's affected the way I talk to people. It does. I love hip-hop. Even if it's like 70%, 30% hip to the hop, I'll still listen. I don't care. I don't care. You don't know me. I do. I like Nelly. Nelly's pretty cool. He's got this one song where he talks about how hot it is and how this girl should just take her clothes off. But then the girl's like, it is getting hot in here. I'm going to take my clothes off. And I'm like, damn, this guy's like a hypnotist. I wish I could just suggestively sing something to a lady and she'd do it like I was a sexual warlock. I'd probably use my power for evil, though. This meal is expensive. I hope she pays for half.
There is some good cybersecurity news because the Department of Justice has just arrested some hackers. Specifically, they arrested the hackers behind the massive Chipotle, Arby's, and Chili's hacks. Yeah. Gotcha. You may destroy our democracy, but you'll never get our baby back barbecue sauce. And no surprise, The men are all Ukrainian nationals. Why are Eastern Europeans always trying to destroy us? Is it because they've tasted Arby's? We're sorry. We don't know what to do.
6:41 here on this Monday morning, August 6th. Let's take a trip back throughout this day in history with Bonnie.
We wish we had something brighter to talk about in history, but a couple of dark ones to begin with, a very dark notes. 128 years ago in 1890, the first electric chair was used.
Well, that got pretty bright at moments when they were using it.
Oh, boy.
Sparks flying everywhere.
And then in 1945...
you can't just gloss over the first electric chair. Give us some of the details.
The first electric chair was with, his name was Robert Gleason, and, no, that's the wrong one. His name was convicted axe murderer William Kemmler, and then he was in that electric chair for murdering his girlfriend.
Kemmler. That sounds familiar.
Kemmler in 1890. I guess the last electric chair was used in 2013 on one Robert Gleason Jr., where he opted for electrocution over lethal injection.
Did you ever read The Green Mile or watch the movie The Green Mile?
I think I've seen it. Is that with Samuel L. Jackson in that movie?
I don't think so. It's based on the Stephen King series, Stephen King book.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks was in it, yep. He was a prison guard, and they were watching over death row, and it's called The Green Mile because there were green tiles that the inmates would follow to get to the electric chair, so they called it The Green Mile. Oh. And it's a good book. Very good book, very good movie. And it has a lot of detail in there about the electric chair, and I'm just going to assume it's true because I read it in a book, so it must be true.
Well, you read the book and saw the movie. I only saw the movie, and it was quite a while ago. And, it was good to watch one time, but I don't know if I want to go back and watch it because it was rather dark, but good acting and a good movie, but just so dark.
It wasn't that dark.
Any prison movie to me is dark.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But the book was released in a strange way. It wasn't like they just said, all right, here's your book for The Green Mile. It kind of was released in installments. I think it was 6, almost like pamphlets I remember getting. Mm-hmm. And I remember plowing through those over the years. So it's like I think they released them staggered, maybe a month out from each other. So you'd go out and you'd buy the first one, and then you'd read that, and then you have to wait a couple of weeks and then go buy the second one. And each one probably had 2 or 3 chapters in it. It was a very strange way to read a book.
Mm-hmm. And another dark day in 1945, the Enola Gay dropped that atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. About 70,000 people died instantly.
Yeah.
With another 60,000 dying in the next 4 months. 90% of the city was leveled. And it was the first time the atom bomb had been dropped on a populated area and the first time used in warfare. Enola Gay co-pilot Robert Lewis wrote in his logbook that day, quote, "My God, what have we done?"
Yeah, and there's a lot of chatter about should we have dropped the bomb and things like that, but you have to realize what the casualty would have been had you taken the island by storm, by land, by air, had you decided not to use the bomb. And if we had gone through all those casualties and then people found out you had this bomb and you didn't use it, there'd be hell to pay at home too. And Hiroshima is not the only city to get wiped off the map during World War II. I mean, there were a long list of cities that were just bombed into oblivion. And another book, the Dresden, I can't remember the Kurt Vonnegut book that was about the Dresden fires. And that was a good book, too. I remember reading that one back in school.
Sounds like you're going to do some more reading, Mike, in these dog days of summer. Like you're going to be digging into some more.
No, my reading days are over. I did all that in high school.
36 years ago in 1982, the movie Pink Floyd The Wall was released in the U.S.
What? Did that need a movie? Was it any good?
It was, it was more of a musical, like very...
I would imagine.
Very low dialogue and a lot of Pink Floyd music throughout the movie with Bob Geldof starring in it and playing playing a rocker who kind of goes deep into depression, and he's thinking about the death of his father and the war, and he's kind of driven into insanity. So he puts himself on trial in this to kind of set himself free.
That sounds weird. Just
Yeah.
like Pink Floyd's music.
It has like a huge cult following. You know, it's in that cult thing right now.
Did you ever watch Wizard of Oz with Dark Side of the Moon going?
I tried it and it didn't really work.
You tried it?
Yeah.
Did you time it right? Did you hit play on the third lion roar?
Maybe I didn't time it right either. And I don't smoke weed, so maybe that's why it didn't work for me.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have to smoke the weed to get that.
I'm sure it helps.
I'm not sure. You know, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to just try to do that one again. Preferably getting that phonograph record player and maybe asking my brother for his Pink Floyd The Wall album. And he can
Well, if
mail
you did it
that
with
down
the-
to me. And
If you did it with the wall, no wonder it didn't work. Wasn't
Oh,
it Dark Side of the Moon?
it was Dark Side of the Moon.
No wonder it didn't work for you.
Oh, no doubt. I was in the wrong album. You're going, Bonnie, what are you smoking this morning? Both some very good albums, though. But what do you use? What was that one that you used for
Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon? Okay, I'll have to
I
remember
believe.
that. I think you're correct. And the Beastie Boys sued the city of Jacksonville, Florida, on the state in 1987.
Really?
Because they included the phrase "mature audience" on their concert tickets and ads. You know, the Beastie Boys in concert. This is for a mature audience only.
Right.
I guess the Beastie Boys were able to sue over that one.
Interesting.
Yeah. In 1992, disabled veteran actor Harold Russell sold the Oscar that he won for 1947, The Best Years of Our Lives, and making it the first Oscar ever sold. Harold lost both his hands during World War II while training troops in the use of explosives, and he needed the money to pay for his wife's eye surgery. The statue cost the Academy $500 to make, and it was sold for $60,500.
I was listening to actors recently on a podcast, and they were talking about how they don't, and maybe it's not the Oscar statue, maybe they were talking about the Emmys or something like that, but they said that they don't actually own the statue that they get. It is very specifically mentioned that it is still owned by whatever the organization is, whether it's the Academy of Motion Pictures for the Oscars or whoever puts on the Emmys. They still own it, and it's just in possession of the actor who wins it. And it was there specifically to prevent people from going around and selling it.
Yeah, it says here too that you can't sell Oscars anymore, or at least you're not supposed to sell them.
Okay.
So
yeah, they must have saw this or some other story and said, all right, we got to change this, because technically those statues are not owned by the people that win them, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
You would think that they would be able to take it and do whatever they want with it, put it on display, melt it down, sell the gold, whatever.
Put it in their bathroom shelf collecting dust.
Could be
Yeah.
doing that too.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, Randy Seagal, we heard him mention about Curiosity, right? So
Mhm.
he's going to have this later on too. 6 years ago in 2012, NASA landed the Curiosity rover on Mars.
That lasted way longer than it was supposed to, that mission, because I think they were supposed to run out of energy relatively quickly, and it went years past what it was supposed to. I know they lost contact with it for a little bit, and I don't think they've ever reestablished contact.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still, even if they never get contact with it again, it was a wildly successful mission.
That's awesome. That's good. A good day for them in space. Soleil Moonfry is 42. Punky Brewster.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan
Shamalama ding dong.
is 48. I thought he was much older. Seriously.
I didn't think he was much older, but I thought he would be in his 50s by
Yeah.
now.
And Randy DeBarge is 60. Singer from DeBarge. They had their big hit Rhythm of the Night, which we all loved.
Mhm.
And August 6th, there's birthdays and back in the day.
6:50 is the time this morning. Treasure Coast News is next. Voters who are upset about yet another year of the algae crisis recently had a roundtable discussion with Florida U.S. Senator Bill Nelson. WPTV Sabira Rayford reports.
Well, here at the Florida Sportsman magazine office in Stewart, this is an area that was once enjoyed by employees and visitors, and now they say some days it's plagued by blue-green algae, and they're just sick of it.
It was so thick it looked like you could walk on it.
David Conway is consumed by blue-green algae.
It makes us sick. Sometimes we can't come to work.
He's a managing editor of Florida Sportsman magazine. He and other employees are back at their office after having to pack up shop weeks ago when blue-green algae layered this water.
We're just hoping it doesn't come back here, but it's other places too.
After seeing firsthand the effects of the green gunk,
what I get is a weird feeling in my mouth.
He and other community members are pushing for change.
Issue that the EPA should have been on top of Florida for the last 22 years about. And if they haven't been, then somebody needs to put a swift boot in somebody's butt in Atlanta.
Voters in this area who are sick of the blue-green mess spoke up at a roundtable discussion with U.S. Senator Bill Nelson.
It's hurting our property value.
This is not going to happen overnight to solve this problem, when in fact the problem has been created over a very long period of time.
An emergency meeting with Martin County leaders is scheduled for Tuesday.
And that's WPTV Sabira Rayford reporting. School starts next Monday, and to get students and parents up to speed on the new busing policy in Martin County, School Superintendent Lori Gaylord and staff members will be holding a Facebook Live event today. The school district will continue to bus in students who live closer than 2 miles from their school up until the point that the student transfers schools. Parents can submit their questions to the Martin County School District Facebook page, and the Q&A will be held tonight at 5:15. Martin County Sheriff's Office Air 1 unit helped out to find 2 missing divers late on Saturday. Their boat captain had called in stating that he was unable to locate them. The Air 1 unit was able to spot the pair about 4 miles offshore, 6 miles south of the inlet, which was about 1.5 miles away from the diver's boat. The 2 were successfully rescued from the water and taken back to dock. Neither diver was injured. A road project in Martin County is getting started today. The county is installing a wastewater collection system along Pine Lake Drive. The work will require the closing of the southbound lane of Pine Lake Drive from Spruce Ridge Drive to Fork Road. The work is expected to be completed by August 17th. St. Lucie County has a message for Hutchinson Island residents. They're reminding those who are on the island that it is sea turtle nesting season and that beach chairs left out on the beach overnight can prevent turtles from making their way on shore. The county is asking everyone to remove their chairs and other items from the beach each night. And the end of summer is in sight. St. Lucie County is celebrating with a series of pool parties. The parties will include free admission, music, and games. The first pool party is this Friday, starting at 5:30 at the Lincoln Park Pool in Fort Pierce. The second party will be on August 18th at the Lakewood Park Pool in Fort Pierce. And the last party will be on August 25th at the Ravenswood Pool in Port St. Lucie. That's a look at your Treasure Coast News at 6:55.
And in both Martin County and St. Lucie counties this morning, expect a nice ride on your way to work, including the major highways. They're looking clear, and federal highways looking good right now. And call us if you see traffic, 220-9788, 220-WSTU.
Treasure Coast weather.
Port St. Lucie has 77 and it's 80 degrees in Stewart. Let's get more on our forecast at WPTV.
Melania Trump stepped away from her husband's criticism of NBA star LeBron James.
Fire danger warnings are posted in several western states.
Venezuela says that President Nicolas Maduro has survived an assassination attempt.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio is welcoming the class of 2018.
Wayfair is going brick and mortar.
A Cincinnati high school teacher has set a record for rowing across the North Atlantic Ocean alone.
Mission Impossible Fallout held on to the #1 spot for the second weekend.
In Chicago, temperatures are well into the 90s, making more than just the music hot at Lollapalooza.
Russia is appointing action movie star Steven Seagal its special representative for U.S.-Russian humanitarian ties.
A woman has been charged for wearing a burqa in Denmark.
The National Rifle Association is suing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and state regulators.
The news unveiled at a Star Trek convention in Las Vegas on Saturday.
Jean-Luc Picard is back.
A major earthquake rocking Indonesia's Lombok Island. Guinness has just opened a new brewery in the U.S.
Well, we got news that Charlotte Rae from Different Strokes and its spinoff, The Facts of Life, passed away yesterday at the ripe old age of 92 years old. She played Edna Garrett, a.k.a. Mrs. G, on both shows. She got an Emmy nomination for Best Actress in a Comedy back in 1982. And I didn't realize this. They did 2 Facts of Life TV movies.
I don't remember the movies whatsoever. I just remember the 30-minute episodes, weeknights when I was a young one and kind of growing up a little bit with that. But I don't recall the big movies that came out.
Yeah. There's no word on the cause of death just yet, but she was diagnosed with bone cancer last year. Plus, I mean, come on, she's 92 years old.
92. Yeah. When I heard that, I didn't believe she was that many years up there. I would have guessed, she'd be maybe in her late 70s or early 80s.
Well, I mean, her character was on the older side back in the 80s, right?
You're right. It was
early 80s.
Starting off with Different Strokes, where she worked for Mr. Drummond in his big high rise, and she helped raise the boys. What was his name? Willis and Gary Coleman. What are you talking about, Willis? She was involved with that and kind of raising them, and then she went on to do The Facts of Life afterward, kind of a spin-off.
Yeah. Well, coincidentally, 2 days before Charlotte passed away, it was announced that they were rebooting Facts of Life. And Leonardo DiCaprio and Jessica Biel are executive producers on the new show. They're not going to be in it, but they're executive producers. They're integral in bringing it back. And all we know on that is it will be a modern take on the story, which was about a house mother and her students. No indication that any of the former stars would be back. The original ran for 9 seasons on NBC from 1979 to 1988. It also offered George Clooney one of his early acting roles, I guess. This was a little bit before my time. I've obviously heard Facts of Life, Different Strokes, what you're talking about, Willis, some of the references there, but I've never seen an episode, and I don't even understand the concept of it.
It just really struck a chord with any girl that was at that tender age of 12 or 13. And kind of like me at the time, where it just hit close to home, where you had maybe the popular girls and maybe the not so popular girls under Mrs. Garrett, who led the way. And we had Jo. She played the tomboy. She could fix a motorcycle.
So was it a bunch of girls at the school or living in the house?
A bunch of girls. And then you had the beautiful Blair, who was just the buxom blonde of the bunch.
Tell me more.
So I think Jo and Blair, always went at it because they both had to live there. And they were always dressed in their school attire, so they had to have a uniform. I remember the girls always being in uniform. But Blair and Jo, I just remember the two of them on the show really butting heads. And I guess you can see why, because Jo was this strong tomboy type who probably didn't come. I don't even know how she got to the school if she didn't come from very wealthy. But Blair came to the school and she was from the more wealthy side. So they kind of butted heads right there, which kind of made the show. Then you had Tootie, the little girl, Tootie, all grown up now. I wish I remembered her real name. Actually, she grew up to be a model. I think she got into modeling. This little girl that played. Oh, and then you had Natalie. Natalie was the bubbly, always laughing, kind of made you laugh, heavy set girl in that situation too. So you did have Natalie Green, and I loved her character there too.
All right. Well, Charlotte Rae, dead at the age of 92. I guess we got word on that yesterday. And I guess we'll get more information as it comes out on this Facts of Life reboot that they're talking about doing.
That might be cool.
Yesterday was also Saturday was the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This year's class was pretty good and includes linebackers Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis and wide receivers Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. You like them or hate them. And most of those guys are either a like or hate type of person. But love them or hate them, there was no doubt that they were some of the best at their position to play the game. And Brian Urlacher is probably the one person in that group where everybody liked Brian Urlacher. He just seemed like a good person there for the Chicago Bears for so many years. Just a beast in that middle linebacker spot. The interesting one here was Terrell Owens made a big deal about how he was not going to show up to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for his own induction ceremony. And he held true to what he said. He was a no-show. He did his acceptance speech, though, from the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, where he went to college. He said he's mad at the Hall for not including him the past 2 years when he was first eligible. He said in his speech, quote, "The sports writers are not in alignment with the mission and core values of the Hall of Fame. I'm a man of courage, courageous enough to choose Chattanooga over Canton." And it's stuff like that that gets people to turn their nose to Terrell Owens. He always had that attitude that he was the best ever. He was better than anybody else, and he demanded that respect. And it was a big turnoff to a lot of people, myself included. But I thought he did a great job ending his speech last night. I thought it was a pretty cool moment. This was towards the end of Terrell Owens' speech yesterday.
I'm going to ask that you stand if this applies to you, and I want you to remain standing. If you ever felt like an outcast, if you ever felt isolated, if you've been or you've felt misunderstood, please stand up. If you've ever been lied on, mischaracterized, please stand up. To everyone that has felt like giving up, to everyone who feels or felt overlooked, please stand up. To everyone from small cities with big dreams, to everyone who has been bullied, please stand up. To everyone who feels that their voice won't be heard, please stand up. This is for you. As I look around the room, most of everybody's standing up. If you're standing up, don't be afraid to be you. I celebrate and I empower you today. We have more commonalities than differences. This entire speech you thought was about me, this was for you.
Yeah, so by the end of it, he had everybody in the crowd standing up, and I thought that was a nice, touching moment, and it surprised me coming from Terrell Owens.
I can see why he would have everybody standing up in that auditorium. That speech right there just really moved me right now. And I didn't even witness it, like seeing him speaking, just hearing the way did he memorize like this whole speech? Was it memorized? Or?
No, they've all got it written down.
Yeah, I mean, that was just very powerful, very moving to me.
Then you had Ray Lewis on the other side of the spectrum. He rambled on for over half an hour, wandering the stage. He was shouting. He was sweating. He sweat through his yellow sports coat that they give you when you get inducted. There was ramblings on the Super Bowl blackout from the Super Bowl he was in. One of them he was in, the torn triceps, religion, sex trafficking got in there, prayer in schools, and then this bonkers moment.
As I told you, the greatest thing I can give you as a father is the truth. That's all Daddy can give you. I can buy you many things. But the reason I'm with you right now and every one of my kids is because of the truth. That what I didn't have, the touches and the hugs and the kisses that I give you, I never had that. I never had a father physically touch me and tell me he loved me. That's why I hug you guys so much. That's why I'm still kissing you in the mouth. Yeah, I kiss all my kids in the mouth. Don't hate.
He kisses his kids on the mouth. What's going on, Ray Lewis? Come on. Can't do that. So Ray Lewis was running all over the place, and Randy Moss had a fairly subdued, standard run-of-the-mill type of speech, but his statement came in the form of his necktie that he was wearing. It featured the names of 12 African Americans who were killed by police. He didn't talk about it during his speech, but he did an interview with NFL Network where he said just having their names here on the tie and showing the families that they're not alone is enough. And, he said, quote, "I'm not here voicing, but by having these names on my tie in a big platform like the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there's a lot of stuff going on in our country, and I just wanted these family members to know they're not alone."
Very nice.
So some big moments from the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Saturday, and all of those speeches and the clips of them are up on NFL's website, NFL.com. And we're getting closer to the start of the football season. The regular week 1 preseason games are starting on Thursday. So you're going to have a ton of games on Thursday and a couple of more throughout the weekend. And then the regular season starts in 1 month on Thursday, September the 6th. So it's time for us to start bringing back the old Pick'em League that we've been doing for the past couple of years. And we're going to have a new website that we can make it a lot easier for people to join. Normally, we have to tell people, all right, give us an email, and then we'll email you the password, and here's the link, and all this stuff. And we don't have to worry about any of that this year. We'll be able to put it up on our brand new website, which you can go to right now on WSTU1450.com. It's got our full broadcast schedule. It's got our sports schedule on there. It's got an ability to listen live. It's got all kinds of stuff up there. So we certainly ask you and hope that you get a chance to check that out when you get a chance. And also make sure to like and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/WSTU1450. I need to do better with my picks this year. I was horrendous last year with the Pick'em League.
I wasn't that great. Well, I wasn't so bad. I think I was in there at number 25, number 24, kind of like I was consistent with that but last year I didn't do as well as I did the first year. But I can't wait for it. Going to be wearing some jerseys. I wear the same boring shirts to work here every day, and I can't wait to put on the colorful football jersey. And I might do that on opening day of football.
How many shirts do you think the average person has that's work that they wear to work? How long do you think the average person goes before they start repeating their outfits?
On average, I was going to say a week, 5 work days, but I'm going to give it more than the 5 work days. I'll go 7 or 8.
Yeah, I don't think it's much more than 5. I think you're in that range, that 6, 7, maybe 8 range. I feel like if you were to get 2, I used to have 2 solid weeks, and it's just over time, that falls apart. And I'm not the type of person to go out and constantly buy new clothes.
Yeah. You get those go-tos that are in your closet. I don't know if it's like, I can't say it's lazy, but you, sometimes I'll admit sometimes I don't plan what to wear the day before, and I'm up at 4 in the morning.
Oh my God, what a shocking admission.
Yeah, and then I pull my go-to out of my closet, or what I feel the most comfortable with wearing, or the cleanest. But usually it's a favorite shirt of mine, which is maybe about a favorite out of maybe 6 or 7 shirts, to be quite honest. Yeah, it's weird, and it's the same thing as for the pants. Which pants are the most comfortable to wear? Which ones are clean? And I probably have maybe 3 or 4 pair of different favorite pants too. And skirts I love, but I just haven't worn a skirt here that I've been working here, so I'm not going to change that up either. It's ridiculous what women go through, and you got to appreciate what we go through every day. It's so hard picking and choosing what we're going to wear.
How, in an ideal world, how many days can you go at work, or how many days would you go at work in an ideal world without repeating an outfit?
In an ideal world? I guess maybe 3 weeks. Does that sound too lengthy?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
3
I would
weeks.
be surprised if people would say ideally 1 month, 2 months, but I would feel like laundry would get to be burdensome. I think 3 weeks is pretty good.
Yeah.
3 weeks, people aren't going to be recognizing your stuff, recognizing your outfit. I sometimes burrow down and I'm like, all right, this is my Tuesday shirt.
I know.
I'm going to grab it. I just tend to grab this one on Tuesday. This is my Monday shirt. I feel good in this shirt. I feel confident in this shirt. So I'm going to wear this one on Fridays. Or if I've got a big meeting, I'll wear this one because I feel better in it.
Yes.
I've got my select few, and I kind of like hyper focus in on them on certain days of the week.
Could you imagine being a diva like Mariah Carey or someone who will admit that they won't wear an outfit more than once?
Must be nice.
It just and I hope they give it to charity then, or a hand me down to some other people, because it would be so wasteful.
I want you to throw this in the dump. I don't want anybody else to wear this $700 shirt that I wore just once. Put it in the dump.
That would be just shameful,
I don't see too many people doing that, but I guess I would probably be in that 2 to 3 week range.
Mm-hmm.
In an ideal world. I would love to sign up for some of these plans where they just send you a new outfit every month. I just don't have the money for it.
I want to sign up for that one. And there is, I think there's like a makeup plan too, where you pay like maybe $10 for the month.
Oh yeah.
And they send you a packet of different makeup that you can use, whether it be lipstick or eyeshadow or eyeliner.
Oh.
And they'll send that to you every month.
Whatever you can think of, there's a monthly subscription service that you can get. And if you can think of something that doesn't have a monthly subscription service, you better start it, because that'll be a good way to make some money. But I've had them for accessories, like men's clothing accessories. So it comes with ties and pocket squares and things like that. I got one of those for my birthday. I got a couple of months of that. They've got them for regular t-shirts. They've got them for work outfits.
Mm-hmm.
They've got them for shoes. I was in a beer of the month club back in the day.
Really?
Which was awesome. Every month you open up a box and here's 10 different beers.
Oh, how much fun.
Yeah,
that is fun. It's like getting presents in the mail.
Yeah,
I could completely get into that.
I knew people that were in wine of the month clubs. I've got I've seen people get these Marvel mystery box where they get a box from the Marvel comics, and inside of it are different collectibles. different toys, different shirts, different pictures, whatever. And there's usually some cool stuff in there.
I can see why it's been hard for maybe some places, that are going out of business when all of this stuff is coming to the home now and, at your fingertips. And like I said, getting presents in the mail, it probably keeps people from really going out and shopping, at their local places. Which is a bad thing. I don't want to see our local places fall on the wayside. One I was going to mention was I think Brookstone. Brookstone, not the online service, at Brookstone, but it was the one in the malls that are going out of business now.
There's some stores that you look at and you go, they don't make 2 sales in a day. And Brookstone was one of them. Who goes in there and buys a lot of outside of Christmas time when you're looking for gifts? Nobody's going into stores like that and buying things like that. It's kind of like the catalog on the airplane. I wonder how many sales they actually make in a day. It's not many.
I think they do have a Brookstone. Those ones are thriving right before you do get on the airplane. I think they still have that in airports, which they're not shutting down.
Because it's where you go buy the neck pillow. 7:26 is the time this morning. Treasure Coast News is next. A man accused of killing a woman in a DUI crash will not face charges because the state missed the filing deadline. WPTV's Megan McRoberts has the details.
If you're arrested and you're accused of a crime, you have a right to a speedy trial. What this means is that the state has to meet certain deadlines for filing charges, getting your case to trial to abide by law. A judge ruled that the state missed a major deadline, which means that this accused deadly drunk driver won't ever have to go to trial, and he'll never even have to face these charges again.
September 1st of last year, 55-year-old Carla Smith and 2 other passengers were driving through Fort Pierce when police said this man, Waldron Brown, was drunk and driving more than 70 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. He's accused of running a stop sign and crashing into Smith's car, killing her. But now in question, when was Brown actually put under arrest? That confusion leading to his charges being dropped. Body camera video from the day of the crash shows Waldron in handcuffs. And when in the hospital, he's put under arrest, according to audio from the cameras.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol or a chemical substance.
They searched my client's pockets. They went into his pockets and took the contents out. You can't do that if the person's not under arrest.
Speedy trial says charges must be filed by the state within 175 days. But the state didn't file charges until this spring.
I can't explain why they didn't file until April, other than the state attorney who had the case dropped the ball.
A judge agreed with Milton and dropped the case.
He can never be charged criminally in the future for this case.
We reached out to the assistant state attorney on the case, who said they took a position that they didn't have to file charges until after an arrest warrant was served for Brown in March. While Brown was put under arrest in September, police reversed the arrest shortly after. But to a judge, that did not matter. Milton says overall it's a disappointing way to win a case.
Kind of all around sad. I think for the citizens, for, the victim's family.
The state is appealing this judge's decision. Milton is also claiming that her client, Brown's, rights were violated by not getting a speedy trial. So she's also pursuing legal action against that concern. I'm Megan McRoberts, WPTV News Channel 5.
A key Everglades restoration project is moving forward ahead of schedule. Governor Rick Scott's office says construction on a project in West Miami-Dade County will begin by the end of the year. The S333 project will allow more water to move south of Lake Okeechobee, meaning fewer harmful discharges into our river estuaries. As we continue into August, the tropics are looking clear. Last week, Colorado State University updated their prediction for the season. They say that cool water temperatures, dry air, and strong wind shear is expected to keep hurricane and activity slightly below average this year. The forecast says to expect 12 named storms this year, 5 hurricanes, and only 1 major hurricane. So far, we've seen 3 named storms in 2018, Subtropical Storm Alberto, Hurricane Beryl, and Hurricane Chris. While it's been quiet so far, late August through September is historically peak hurricane season. That's a look at our Treasure Coast news. It's 7:30.
Martin County right now, we do have an accident out on I-95. This one is I-95 northbound in Palm City at mile marker 105. There's not any roadblock. If you see traffic, let us know about it at 220-9788, 220-WSTU.
Treasure Coast weather.
It's 80 in Palm City, and WPTV weather is brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Code Red Roofers cares, calls you back, shows up, and finishes on time. Call 287-2829. Let's get more from Glenn Glaser at WPTV.
Fox on Film.
I'm Jane Metzler.
What's done is done when we say it's done.
Clearly, this Tom Cruise spy series is anything but done. Mission Impossible Fallout, the 6th installment in the franchise, again topping the domestic box office, taking in another $35 million this weekend. Disney's Christopher Robin debuts in second.
What to do indeed. Who? Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin's all grown up in this family-friendly film that brought in $25 million less than expected. Coming in third its first weekend in theaters.
I know you're a spy.
It's a long story, and I'm going to explain everything.
The Spy Who Dumped Me, making $12.4 million. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, finishing fourth with $9.1 million in fifth.
I'm a high-level paid government assassin.
Denzel Washington in Equalizer 2, taking in another $8.8 million. That's Fox on Film.
Fox on Tech.
An update is rolling out for Google Maps that will share more than your location. Now, when you decide to let someone else know where you are, you'll also have the ability to let them see how much battery life you have left on your smartphone. The feature was noted in a beta version of Google Maps for Android a few months ago, and since it's been showing up in other devices, including iOS users. As for why you would want to share your battery level when you share your location, a simple reason: safety. People wouldn't want to worry if they saw, say, you had an hour or so left on your journey, but only a few minutes or so left on your battery. The rollout didn't come as a surprise. The website Android Police noted the feature when they looked deep inside the Google Maps application developer kit. You can check to see if the feature is available on your device. Simply open Google Maps and share your location with someone you know. You'll see the battery life in the prompts that follow. With Fox on Tech, I'm Brett Larson, Fox News.
Well, the Marlins had a forgettable weekend up in Philadelphia as Drupal Cabrera hit a tie-breaking two-run homer yesterday in the 8th inning as the surging Philadelphia Phillies completed a 4-game sweep, defeating the Marlins 5-3 last night. With just about 2 months left to go in the regular season for Major League Baseball, the Marlins, well, no surprise. I mean, they're pretty much out of it. They've been out of it most of the season. They are 18 games behind the Phillies now. For first place in the National League East. The Phillies have a 1.5 lead over the Braves. In the NL Central, it's the Cubs on top. They have a 1-game lead over the Milwaukee Brewers. In the NL West, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks and the LA Dodgers sharing a 2-game lead over the Colorado Rockies. In the American League, the West, the Houston Astros have a 4-game lead over the Oakland Athletics. The Indians, a 9-game lead over the Twins in the Central. And the Boston Red Sox, a 9.5-game lead over the New York Yankees in the AL East. Wild card races in the American League. It's the Yankees and the Athletics holding a 2.5-game lead over the Seattle Mariners. The Tampa Bay Rays would be next in line. They're 10.5 games back of the wild card spot. In the National League, Brewers and Braves have the wild card spot right now. They have a half-game advantage over the Arizona Diamondbacks and the LA Dodgers, a 2.5-game lead over the Colorado Rockies, and a 4-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. Football over the weekend, Miami Dolphins training camp continued, and so did the defense's domination of the offense. Cameron Wake and Robert Quinn on Saturday had limited participation in practice, so Charles Harris got his chance to shine. He beat Laramie Tunsil to disrupt Ryan Tannehill and produce a sack on one play, and then on another, he blew past Mike Gesicki for a play that would have probably produced a strip fumble if the action were live. Tannehill never saw him coming. In college football, all talk has been on Ohio State and the investigation of head coach Urban Meyer's handling of a domestic violence complaint against one of his former assistant coaches. The school announced last night that they expect to have that investigation completed within 14 days. That's a look at sports here on WSTU.
Robots work in my grocery store now. You know how a grocery store works. You bring your items up, and the checkout clerk grabs them, and they wave them over a laser beam, and the laser beam adds them up. You pay the clerk. They put your food in the bag. You take your bag out to the car. Well, with the new grocery robots, you bring the food up to the robot. You wave the food over the laser beam. You pay the robot. You put the food in the bag, and you take the bag out to your car. Because my grocery store got all of my letters where I said, I want to be a checkout clerk. So the first time I saw them, I had my card. I was like, what the hell? I didn't know what they were. And then a checkout woman swooped up and said, do you want to know how this works? Which broke my heart. She's already working as a checkout clerk. And then she came into work that day, and the manager said, today your job includes introducing the public to the robots that are putting you on the street. Make sure to do that.
Thank you, Lazy Rivers, for combining my love of crowded public pools with my love of traffic jams. I love a lazy river. I dig it. I dig it. Thank you, jet skis, for not being called crotch boats. I do follow that.
Yeah, that's my name. That's my rapper.
Crotch boats. Oh, man. Thank you, Pez dispensers, for teaching kids that the best way to get candy is to snap a cartoon character's neck. Thank you, door close button on elevators. I'll continue to push you every day, even though we both know you don't do anything. So why am I doing it? Thank you, bagels, or as I like to call you, business donuts. There you go, everybody. Those are my thank you notes.
Today is August 6th. It's National Root Beer Float Day.
Oh, as it should be. With temperatures in the 90s, that will keep you cool. That will keep you chilled.
It was ridiculously hot this weekend. I know it was temperature-wise about 90 degrees, but the heat index was up over 100 degrees, and stupid me thought I would work outside during it. Nope, that didn't last long. What a miserable hot weekend it was in terms of the temperature. Just no relief.
No relief from it whatsoever. It's hard if you have to be out there. Even working a half hour feels like eternity. You start sweating buckets, and you got to go inside and take a little drink of that root beer float.
Of course, I tried to make a new creation this weekend. I've seen this pop up on the social media feeds. My mom has sent me this recipe, and we actually sat and did it this weekend. Jalapeno popper hot dogs. You ever have a jalapeno popper?
Yes. I enjoy them.
Get the jalapeno, some cream cheese, and some bacon.
Usually you get good ones around here.
Basically, take the jalapeno popper and shove a hot dog in it. So we took the hot dog, split the hot dog, shoved it full of cream cheese and cheddar cheese and some other seasoning, and then hollowed out a couple of jalapenos, shoved the hot dog through the jalapeno, wrapped the whole thing in bacon, and then grilled it.
That sounds a little bit interesting.
It was delicious.
Did your mom get this recipe for you, like maybe from Pinterest or something?
She found it somewhere, sent it to us, and then we made it, and it was good. It was tasty, and it looked good.
Kinds of different concoctions and different recipes now that I guess you can try. I would never even think of putting a hot dog in my jalapeno popper, however, but it might be okay.
Yes, it was good. So let's see, what else are we working on here? Facebook is unveiling a new dating portion of their website. I guess it's a new dating app. I guess they think if they help you find some love, you'll forgive them for selling your personal data to everybody else. But you'll be able to set up a dating profile. It's separate from your main profile. And it looks like Facebook will recommend people to you based on interests and mutual friends that you may have. No word on when it could launch, but from the info that's leaked out about this, it seems like it's pretty much a finished product, so we could see it soon. But I would have some reservations about signing on for a Facebook dating app. I met my wife through a dating website, Match.com specifically. And the thing that would make me concerned about doing that through Facebook would be how close it is to my main, how connected is it to my main profile? Could people see my real name? Could people see my profile pictures? Could people be able to easily find out who I am in real life? Because I feel like that could lead to some pretty bad situations. The one nice thing about Match and all the other dating websites is you control exactly what content gets put up there, and you are the one who kind of controls the information you give to the person you're dealing with, because you want to make sure that you're not dealing with a crazy person. You don't want to give your information out and, here's my email and here's my Facebook account and here's my phone number to a crazy person that's going to start stalking you.
Yeah, maybe if it was on Facebook and with all your Facebook information, it might just be too close to home where they could look into your personal information. I like the idea of it just being kind of hidden like with Match.com or maybe that one for Our Time for like people over 50.
Yeah, there's a ton of these dating apps out there now. And Facebook's going to try to dip their toes into the water and see what happens. But I don't know. It seems like Facebook is kind of scrambling around the last couple of years, trying to win some trust back, and they just took a huge hit financially with the value of their stock plummeting like that. And I don't know, maybe it's just amplifying what we've already been seeing for the past couple of years.
Yeah,
but it seems like this isn't necessarily that next step for them. I'm surprised they've waited this long.
With that dating app, I would have reservations like as a parent and your 16 or 15-year-old getting on there and creating, how easy it probably would be to create their own dating app on like a Facebook page. That just seems too open for opportunity for the bad people that are out there, and the whatnots with pedophiles, and it just...
Well, they're already there with the regular Facebook pages.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is any extra, any extra attention drawn to them because of the dating app, and we don't know too many of the details about it in general.
Yeah.
But I would be concerned. I would want to make sure that it doesn't have any way to link to my main Facebook page or any way where somebody could cross-reference what they see in that Facebook page to find my real page.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a much worse if you're I think if you're a woman on there, you're much more likely to pick up somebody who is a stalker or stalker-ish compared to a guy like me.
Mm-hmm. You would probably pick up people you don't want, to see after you, or just seeing what you're doing.
Yeah. 7:51's the time here this morning. We've got Treasure Coast News coming up next. Voters upset about yet another year of the algae crisis recently had a roundtable discussion with Florida U.S. Senator Bill Nelson. WPTV's Sabira Rayford reports.
Well, here at the Florida Sportsman magazine office in Stewart, this is an area that was once enjoyed by employees and visitors, and now they say some days it's plagued by blue-green algae, and they're just sick of it.
It was so thick it looked like you could walk on it.
David Conway is consumed by blue-green algae.
It makes us sick. Sometimes we can't come to work.
He's the managing editor of Florida Sportsman magazine. He and other employees are back at their office after having to pack up shop weeks ago when blue-green algae layered this water.
We're just hoping it doesn't come back here, but it's other places too.
After seeing firsthand the effects of the green gunk,
what I get is a weird feeling in my mouth.
He and other community members are pushing for change.
Issue that the EPA should have been on top of Florida for the last 22 years about. And if they haven't been, then somebody needs to put a swift boot in somebody's butt in Atlanta.
Voters in this area who are sick of the blue-green mess spoke up at a roundtable discussion with U.S. Senator Bill Nelson.
It's hurting our property value. This is not going to happen overnight to solve this problem, when in fact the problem has been created over a very long period of time.
An emergency meeting with Martin County leaders is scheduled for Tuesday.
And that's WPTV's Sabira Rayford reporting. School starts next Monday, and to get students and parents up to speed on the new busing policy in Martin County, School Superintendent Lori Gaylord and staff members will be holding a Facebook Live event today. The school district will continue to bus in students who live closer than 2 miles from their school up until the point that the student transfers schools. Parents can submit their questions to the Martin County School District Facebook page, and the Q&A will be held tonight at 5:15. Martin County Sheriff's Office Air 1 unit helped to find 2 missing divers late on Saturday. Their boat captain had called in stating that he was unable to locate them. The Air 1 unit was able to spot the pair of divers. They were found about 4 miles offshore, 6 miles south of the inlet, which was about 1.5 miles away from their boat. The 2 were successfully rescued from the water and taken back to dock. Neither diver was injured. And a road project in Martin County is getting started today. The county is installing a wastewater collection system along Pine Lake Drive. The work will require the closing of the southbound lane of Pine Lake Drive from Spruce Ridge Drive to Fork Road. The work is expected to be completed by August 17th. That's a look at our Treasure Coast News. It's 7:55.
accident I-95 northbound in Palm City. This is at mile marker 105. There's no roadblock. There's your latest look at traffic. And right now, we do see an accident in Martin County. It's on I-95 northbound Palm City. This at mile mark 105. There's not any roadblock. You should get through. And if you see traffic, let us know about it. 220-9788, 220-WSTU.
Treasure Coast weather.
Well, right now it's 80 in Stewart, and Port St. Lucie has 78. Let's get more from Glenn Glazer at WPTV.
Melania Trump stepped away from her husband's criticism of NBA star LeBron James.
Fire danger warnings are posted in several western states.
Venezuela says that President Nicolas Maduro has survived an assassination attempt.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio is welcoming the class of 2018.
Wayfair is going brick and mortar.
A Cincinnati high school teacher has set a record for rowing across the North Atlantic Ocean alone.
Mission Impossible Fallout held on to the #1 spot for the second weekend.
In Chicago, temperatures are well into the 90s, making more than just the music hot at Lollapalooza.
Russia is appointing action movie star Steven Seagal its special representative for U.S.-Russian humanitarian ties.
A woman has been charged for wearing a burqa in Denmark.
The National Rifle Association is suing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and state regulators.
The news unveiled at a Star Trek convention in Las Vegas on Saturday.
Jean-Luc Picard is back.
A major earthquake rocking Indonesia's Lombok Island.
Guinness has just opened a new brewery in the U.S.
All right, WSTU1450.com. The new website is live. Make sure to head on over there. Check us out. You can also tune in to our live stream right there on the website. Just click Listen Live, and you can take WSTU with you anywhere you go as long as you have that solid internet connection. Meanwhile, make sure to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/WSTU1450. And you can go ahead and add in or participate in some of the conversations we've got. We asked some people there on Facebook earlier this morning about some of the apps that you might have on your phone that you hate, but you just can't quit. There's a conversation going on right now over on the website gizmodo.com where people are sharing the apps they hate but just always seem to be using. And it's not just social networks, although those are definitely the most popular answers. Of course, Facebook, Instagram, those were the ones that came up the most on that list there. And I hear that a lot from people. People just get tired of Facebook, but it's the best way to keep up to date with everything that's going on with friends and family that you don't get to see on a daily basis.
It sounds to me like it's some sort of an addiction. Like some people, say, oh, I hate smoking. They hate what it does to them. You know, they hate what it does to their health. They just hate it after a while, but then yet they go back to it because it gives them that kind of instant feeling with that first puff of that cigarette of elation.
I think there's certain apps that are definitely addicting, but I feel like Facebook is in a group by itself because there really isn't that other option to be able to keep track of what other people are doing, especially friends and family, because that's just where everybody is. Everybody's on Facebook, and it's not the best way to keep track of news from your favorite, maybe your favorite news sources or whatever. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, those are all better places to go to kind of see different stories coming in from how I like to use social media. But in terms of sticking with family and seeing what friends are up to that I don't get to speak with right on a regular basis, or family that's spread out across the country, nothing's better than Facebook for that, in my opinion.
It just seems like sort of a getaway. That's how you kind of get away from things for a while. That's how I seem to see it. It's like when I'm not feeling very serious, maybe I'm at home on a Saturday morning, just doing mindless things like looking at Facebook. It just kind of helps me escape for a little bit.
They also had the app Waze on the list here, and that one surprises me. Waze is one of those GPS directional apps that you can download to your phone, and I think what makes Waze interesting is you can have different voices. I think all the different celebrities have done them. So you could have Arnold Schwarzenegger giving you directions on how to get to grandma's house or get to the grocery store or various elements like that. And I know that when certain movies come out, one of the ad campaigns for the movies will be to have the actors in character giving you directions. I've seen that for a couple of movies in the past couple of years. I've never used Waze, but from what I understand, it's filled with pop-ups and is also known to give people just extremely terrible routes to get to where they're going. Yeah, so it takes 5 times as long to get to a certain place at various times. And then other times you use the app and it's amazing. I just use the basic Google Maps. I've never seen a reason to not use that one.
It sounds like it'd be kind of exciting and fun to have that celebrity voice and, coming at you and giving you the directions. It might be fun for a while, but then maybe you could get sick of that voice after a while,
I was
too.
going to say, that's gimmicky. To me, that's you listen to it once and then it's over. And probably it's over before you even get to where you're going.
It's kind of like that same alarm that goes off every morning, which reminds me I got to change mine. I have that same ringtone that I wake up to, and I hate that one too.
I'd be scared to change it because I know what to listen for when I'm trying to wake up.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know the tone. I don't wake up at all to my wife's alarm. Her
You
alarm.
don't?
No, I don't wake up whatsoever to my wife's alarm. I never have. I've never once heard it and thought it was mine. It's just my brain must be able to filter it out. And yet mine goes off and boom, I hear it no matter how deep of a sleep I'm in. And I don't wake up right away, but I know that that's my alarm. So I'm afraid to change it.
You best not change it then. A person might envy that, Mike. I mean, if any alarm that would sound off, I would wake up to anything right away. You must be a really like a deep kind of sleeper.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's kind of enviable. You're in an enviable position.
Pokemon Go made the list of apps that people wanted to give up, but they just can't quite do it yet. YouTube made the list, and Pandora, which is the music streaming service. And some people on there were saying, yeah, I like Pandora enough. I get annoyed, though, at the ads and the weird song picks, but I still listen to Pandora. So I like it, but I don't like it enough to pay to make all the annoying stuff go away.
How much is it extra to pay to make the annoying stuff go away? Maybe like a few bucks a month?
Yeah, it's a few bucks a month. Nothing too crazy.
I guess YouTube, that's YouTube I don't really get so sick of, but I guess that is like one of my go-to apps when I have some free time. I will look up things on YouTube. I find it kind of fun, actually. I don't hate it. I don't hate that app.
Yeah, I'm surprised that YouTube made the list. There's so many apps that I think are just, I hate having them there, but they're useful enough that I don't get rid of them. And I think most of them are probably the social media, the
Mhm.
social networking type apps.
My favorite one is like my Metro app, so I can just pay my phone payment on my phone, and I don't go bother the people live at a Metro store anymore.
Oh, really?
I used to go, and every single month I would pay my phone bill by stopping into the Metro PCS stores.
Wow.
hmm
How so 1990s of you?
Yeah, so a gentleman there was so kind enough to put my Metro app on my phone, and now that's my favorite one.
So when he tells you it's fine, but when I tell you, you just totally ignore me. Because I told you for years,
know.
why are you doing that? You could pay online. You could pay over the phone. It'd be so much easier.
Yeah, just true. It saved me a lot of time. Yes, it has. And I think it paid me saved me money too, like maybe a few dollars each time. When I used to go pay at the Metro store, it would cost me a few extra bucks just for going there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now,
Man, they charge you extra to go pay in the store?
I think they
And you
did.
still did it.
Yeah, I did.
I don't understand. To me, that would be last case scenario is going to pay in store. And yet every time I'm in one of those places, there are people coming in to pay their bills.
hmm
And outside of maybe my last payment or my first, I don't want to have to step foot in that store.
No, it's just I don't want to have to stop in any store to pay a bill anymore. I love that saving involvement. It's like you need it in this day and age. Working 2 or 3 jobs, you have kids to take care of. You have so many things going on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that extra stop.
Yeah. If you've got an app that you hate but just can't quite quit, feel free to reach out to us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WSTU1450. You can like us there, follow us there, and let us know some of those apps that you hate but can't quit. Right now, it's 8:18. We've got Treasure Coast News coming up next. A man accused of killing a woman in a DUI crash will not be facing charges because the state missed the filing deadline. WPTV's Megan McRoberts reports.
If you're arrested and you're accused of a crime, you have a right to a speedy trial. What this means is that the state has to meet certain deadlines for filing charges, getting your case to trial to abide by law. A judge ruled that the state missed a major deadline, which means that this accused deadly drunk driver won't ever have to go to trial, and he'll never even have to face these charges again.
September 1st of last year, 55-year-old Carla Smith and 2 other passengers were driving through Fort Pierce when police said this man, Waldron Brown, was drunk and driving more than 70 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. He's accused of running a stop sign and crashing into Smith's car, killing her. But now in question, when was Brown actually put under arrest? That confusion leading to his charges being dropped. Body camera video from the day of the crash shows Waldron in handcuffs. And when in the hospital, he's put under arrest, according to audio from the cameras.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol or a chemical substance.
They searched my client's pockets. They went into his pockets and took the contents out. You can't do that if the person's not under arrest.
Speedy Trial says charges must be filed by the state within 175 days. But the state didn't file charges until this spring.
I can't explain why they didn't file until April, other than the state attorney who had the case dropped the ball.
A judge agreed with Milton and dropped the case.
He can never be charged criminally in the future for this case.
We reached out to the assistant state attorney on the case, who said they took a position that they didn't have to file charges until after an arrest warrant was served for Brown in March. While Brown was put under arrest in September, police reversed the arrest shortly after. But to a judge, that did not matter. Milton says overall it's a disappointing way to win a case.
Kind of all around sad. I think for the citizens, for, the victim's family.
The state is appealing this judge's decision. Milton is also claiming that her client, Brown's, rights were violated by not getting a speedy trial. So she's also pursuing legal action against that concern. I'm Megan McRoberts, WPTV News Channel 5.
Veteran shuttle astronaut Suni Williams has a new assignment. She was named Friday to the Boeing Starliner's first active mission. As a veteran of shuttle and space station missions, she's thrilled to be getting involved in the next chapter of on-orbit operations.
I'm just really excited that we're actually going to be able to take these spacecraft and show them off to our international partners, have them ride with us to the International Space Station. Then that's going to help all of us understand a little bit more about how we live and work in space, and further on for our next program, Orion and SLS. So there's a lot to be done, and we're just the beginning.
The Crew Dragon should have its first manned test flight in April of next year. The Starliner's first manned test flight should come a few months later. The July jobs report is out, and the nation's unemployment rate ticked lower, down to 3.9%. The economy added 157,000 jobs last month, lower than the forecast of 190,000, but University of Central Florida economist Sean Snaith says monthly job growth numbers can be affected by specific events.
If you start to look into the details by sector, you saw there was a 30,000 plus loss of jobs in the sector that would include Toys R Us, which shut down operations in, I believe, in June or late May.
Dr. Snaith says he's still looking for an acceleration in wage and salary growth, which he calls the missing piece of the puzzle. A key Everglades restoration project is moving ahead of schedule. Governor Rick Scott's office says construction on a project in West Miami-Dade County will begin by the end of the year. The S333 project will allow more water to move south of Lake Okeechobee, meaning fewer harmful discharges into river estuaries. As we continue into August, the tropics are looking clear. Last week, Colorado State University updated their prediction for the season. They say that cool water temperatures, dry air, and strong wind shear is expected to keep hurricane activity slightly below average this year. Now, the forecast is calling for 12 named storms, 5 hurricanes, and only 1 major hurricane, which is a Category 3 or higher. We've had 3 named storms so far this year: Subtropical Storm Alberto, Hurricane Beryl, and Hurricane Chris. It's been quiet so far, but late August through September is historically peak hurricane season. The Martin County Sheriff's Office is looking for help identifying 2 suspects who are tied to multiple crimes that took place last month. The 2 men are suspected of stealing a victim's wallet from her purse while she was shopping at a local furniture store. Her credit cards were then used at several different stores, including Target, Macy's, and Home Depot. Surveillance pictures of the 2 suspects show that they are both black men. One was in light-colored shorts with a dark T-shirt and a white hat. The other was in a white T-shirt and a blue hat. The 2 were driving what appears to be a Nissan sedan. The man in the white shirt and blue hat is tied to a separate vehicle burglary that happened on July 8th at Halpatioke Park. The suspect used a stolen debit card at a Walgreens and then stole a MacBook from the Jensen Beach Best Buy. Pictures of both suspects are available on the Martin County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, and anyone with information is asked to call 772-220-7060. If you got stuck with a bank fee because the SunPass charge hit your checking account at the wrong time, administrators say they plan to help you out. SunPass says it will have information soon on how to deal with those bank fees. This is all stemming from the disaster that was SunPass trying to update their systems. When the system came back online, charges weren't getting filed properly. People were getting hit with double charges, and they didn't know when the charge was going to come at all. And a lot of people are complaining about overdraft fees as a result of the botched update from SunPass. That's a look at our Treasure Coast news here this morning. It's 8:26, which means it's time for the Precious Metals Report, brought to us by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin. Gold's opening at $1,206.90 an ounce. Silver's opening at $15.27 an ounce. The Precious Metals Report brought to us by St. Lucie Jewelry and Coin.
On the roads right now, we don't have any accidents to report. The major highways are clear, and Federal Highway is clear. And if you see traffic, let us know about it at 220-9788-220-WSTU.
Treasure Coast weather.
It's 81 Jensen Beach, and WPTV weather is brought to us by Code Red Roofers. Roofers who respond. Code Red Roofers cares, calls you back, shows up, and finishes on time. Call 287-2829. Let's get our forecast at WPTV.
Space, the final frontier with Randy Siegel and the Space Report on WSTU. Good morning, Randy.
And good morning to you. Well, back in 1961, Vostok 2 was launched from the Soviet Union with cosmonaut German Titov on board. German Titov spent about 18 hours in orbit, and he became the second human to orbit the Earth. He was destined to fly a space plane for Russia, or for the Soviet Union at the time. But after Yuri Gagarin lost his life in a plane crash, he was pulled from all flights because the Soviets said, we can't have our heroes being lost, so we need a hero. And since he was the second one, he became the top dog for hero, but never flew again. He passed away several years later. He died in the year 2000 at age 65 years old. And also on this date in history, in 2012, the Mars Science Laboratory, Curiosity, landed on Mars, where we're still getting tremendous data from that spacecraft. The astronauts on board the International Space Station used their robotic arm on Friday to pick up and release the Dragon spacecraft that has been attached for nearly a month. The capsule splashed down in the Pacific about 6:17 p.m. and our time, and was recovered by the recovery forces. The team that retrieved it got more than 38,000 pounds of cargo, including a variety of technological and biological samples. These samples have to be worked on by scientists within 48 hours after splashdown, and everything went exactly as it was supposed to. An excellent, excellent launch. Friday was also the big day for the announcement as to which astronauts are going to fly which commercial vehicles when they finally start flying in space. And in case you missed that announcement, the Starliner test flight astronauts who will fly will be Eric Boe and Nicole Mann. They'll be joined by the Boeing astronaut, ex-NASA astronaut Chris Ferguson. They will fly that first test mission. The Dragon will fly its first mission, which will have 2 astronauts on board, and those astronauts are going to be Josh Cassada and Sunita Williams. They'll be the first to fly. The crewed Dragon's first mission in a full flight will be Victor Glover and Michael Hopkins. They will be going to the International Space Station. There are also others that were assigned to fly to the International Space Station aboard Starliner. So, in total, 9 astronauts have been assigned to various missions on board the International Space Station, carried by commercial crew, which will be the first time we'll have astronauts launching from the United States in many, many years. There's a good chance that at least one of them, probably SpaceX, could fly their mission before the end of this year, and then the first operational mission next year. We already know that Boeing has decided to stand down for about 6 months because they had a problem with their spacecraft, and as a result, they won't fly till early next year. If you're an early riser, I would recommend you get up tomorrow morning at 1:18, because there will be a launch taking place from Cape Canaveral. A SpaceX rocket, the second flight of an Engine 5 version, will be launched with a Telkom 4 communication satellite for Indonesia. That launch has an 80% chance of having favorable weather. So it'd be a good time, if you want to see a launch, to go ahead and do it. Virgin Orbit's 747 received its Launcher 1 pylon. That's a rocket that will be attached, or the pylon that will carry the rocket was attached to the airplane last week, and they expect the first captive test flights for that vehicle sometime this week. China has been soliciting people to give them experiments on the International Space Station. They have gone through the United Nations and they have said anybody around the world is welcome to fly an experiment on China's space station. The space station is not expected before the end of 2019 and possibly into 2020. Japan's Hayabusa spacecraft, which has been tagging along with asteroid Rogu, has determined that there is no sign of water on that asteroid. Experts are not giving up, however, on discovering of any life-giving substances that may be on that particular asteroid. Rogu is a C-type asteroid, which is rich in carbon. Many C-type asteroids are known to contain moisture in their surface boulders, and experts hope that Rogu would be one of them. So far, no luck. We also want to tell you that Israel is likely to beat India in getting to the moon. India has delayed its flight of the Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft to the moon, and as a result, an Israeli company is getting ready to fly. They will fly the end of this year or early next year aboard a SpaceX rocket that will take it to the moon. The company that's doing this is Space.il, founded in 2011 by a group of engineers with a budget of about $90 million. It's backed mainly by private donors, including U.S. casino magnate Sheldon Adelson and billionaire Morris Kahn, who co-founded AMDOS. So it should be a very interesting mission. Lastly, we want to tell you that NASA has picked 4 companies for suborbital spaceflight: Aerostar International, Blue Origins, UP Astrospace, and Worldview Enterprises. All 4 should supply NASA with suborbital spaceflight vehicles in the not-too-distant future. Tomorrow, we're going to tell you about a U.S. contractor signing another deal with Russia, and JAXA, the Japanese Space Agency, getting ready to send a probe to the moon. So until tomorrow, have a great day, everybody.
Randy Siegel with the Space Report here on WSTU. Portions of Mike and Bonnie in the Morning are brought to us by Ellie's Downtown Deli and Catering.
What to do for lunch today? Make it Ellie's Deli and, try a roast beef sandwich. You might want to make it a roasted chicken salad sandwich, or maybe you're hungry for some corned beef and Swiss. Make it pastrami and Swiss, and order it up with a bowl of soup. Soups are made fresh each morning. Chef Mark preparing for it for you right now. And while you're there, pick up on some homemade deli desserts like Goody Bar brownies. You know, they're huge and they're full of chocolate for you. And pies like Oreo pie and key lime pie. Pick some up today at Ellie's Deli in Stewart.
And even though it's Monday, it's never too early to start planning the weekend. And Ellie's Deli and the staff there are trying to get your weekend started the right way. Friday, August 10th, Ellie's Deli is presenting another dinner at the Harbor Ridge Yacht Club and Marina. You can go there and get an incredible menu prepared by Chef Mark Muller and the staff there from Ellie's Deli. You can get appetizers like tuna tartare, lobster and sherry bisque, a 16-ounce T-bone for dinner. They've got a full menu of options, including dessert, and a beer and wine bar available as well. So the only catch is you have to make reservations. Reservations start at 6 and go until 9 o'clock on Friday night. To make your reservations today, call them up at 772-781-6605 or stop on in to Ellie's Deli, located at 18 Southeast 6th Street, just off Colorado Avenue in Stewart. Tell them you heard about it from Mike and Bonnie in the Morning.
bad. I listen to too much hip hop. It's affected the way I talk to people. It does. I love hip hop. Even if it's like 70%, 30% hip to the hop, I'll still listen. I don't care. I don't care. You don't know me. I do. I like Nelly. Nelly's pretty cool. He's got this one song where he talks about how hot it is and how this girl should just take her clothes off. But then the girl's like, it is getting hot in here. I'm going to take my clothes off. And I'm like, damn, this guy's like a hypnotist. I wish I could just suggestively sing something to a lady and she'd do it like I was a sexual warlock. I'd probably use my power for evil, though. This meal is expensive. I hope she pays for half.
There is some good cybersecurity news because the Department of Justice has just arrested some hackers. Specifically, they arrested the hackers behind the massive Chipotle, Arby's, and Chili's hacks. Yeah, gotcha. You may destroy our democracy, but you'll never get our baby back, baby back, baby back. Barbecue sauce. And no surprise, the men are all Ukrainian nationals. Why are Eastern Europeans always trying to destroy us? Is it because they've tasted Arby's? We're sorry. We don't know what to do.
Well, it looks like Lance Bass had a emotional weekend. Remember the Brady Bunch house going up for sale?
Yeah, and Michael Brady was an architect, too, on the show. I think he, kind of designed his own house or something. It's pretty cool. It's cool looking.
Yeah, well, the house went up for sale, the one that they used for the exterior shots, and it drew a lot of interest. And they started with the asking price of $1.89 million. And Lance Bass, one of the boy band members, I think from NSYNC, he was expecting a bidding war, and he was really, really excited to own the Brady Bunch house. So he came in with an offer that was a lot more than the asking price. Not sure exactly how much, but TMZ is saying that the offer was around $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And Lance Bass was told that he'd won. The Brady Bunch house would be his. But then, according to Lance, after the deadline for offers passed, a Hollywood studio came in and outbid him.
Oh, no.
And took it out from under his nose.
What a crushing day.
In an Instagram post, he said he would have been willing to spend even more money on the house than what he had bid, but he was informed that the other buyer would outperform any bid, and they had unlimited resources.
Oh, brother. Yeah, that would put me in mean spirits throughout the day to lose the Brady house, especially really wanting it.
Yeah, and he says that he thinks that he was merely used to set the price and that this corporation had always intended on swooping in and buying the house after all of the bids were in. Seems like something shady was going on at the Brady Bunch house.
Something a little bit shady. I was reading, it's interesting, Mike, in the house, for what they showed on TV with the Brady Bunch, it's the design in the interior wasn't exactly identical because I guess with the boys' room and with Marcia and Cindy and Jan's room, when they had the rooms upstairs, they would actually film that footage at another little shelter or little space that was right next door.
I don't think they did any filming at that house except for the exterior shots.
I think maybe you could be right. I've always been under the assumption that when you walk in and they have the stairway and they have that little den before you go into the living room, I always thought that was the same design. I was just maybe under the impression that the upstairs footings took place next door.
I wouldn't be surprised if homeowners over the years have tried to change that house to match the show. That would make a lot of sense.
That would be. Mm-hmm. I know the outside of the house, the footage of the outside of the house is the same exact identical thing, but I think that has been altered throughout the years too.
Yeah.
Looking a little bit different than it did on the TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some things have to change over time.
Yeah.
Looking back in high school, is there a class, Bonnie, that you kind of look back on and you think, man, I slacked off in that and I wish I hadn't? I really wish I knew more about that subject now as an adult. Is there any Is there any class that you can think of, math or science or English or Spanish or Russian, whatever you took?
I guess it would be math. I just wish I had gotten it better, like faster. I wish it came to me better. So maybe I wish I would have had like the patience to, maybe think about the math problems a little bit more.
Yeah, a new survey asked people to name the number one subject they wish that they would have paid more attention to back in school, and math took the top spot. I don't think that's too much of a surprise. 31% of people said they wish they would have paid more attention in math class. 23% of men, 15% of women said it was the most useful class they took. I would agree with that. I use math almost every day, and you wouldn't think it being in radio and other things, but I'm a math guy. I understood math when I was in high school. I got math. I was able to take the hard classes and get enough college credit when I was in high school that I didn't have to take a math class in college.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I can totally see, though, why math is number one. But I have to admit, math comes, I don't want to brag, but math was easy enough to me in high school that I don't understand why people have an issue with it. And I know that a lot of people do. And I'm not saying that people are stupid for not getting it. I'm just saying it's one of those things that it comes easy enough to me that I'm surprised that other people struggle with it. And it has always surprised me because math always seemed like the easiest class I took in school.
So did algebra come easy to you too?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Like solving for X and things like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing that I envy about you. That never came easy. In fact, it was my 7th hour class was algebra, the last class of the day. So because of that, when I was in 10th grade struggling with algebra upon taking tests, I would never make it down to our fun pep rallies. I'd be sitting there struggling with the algebra exam.
10 minus X equals 3. What's X?
That's easy enough. X would be 7.
Okay.
Yeah. But then they got more and more confusing, more and more complex too.
Yeah, but it was all patterns. It was like, to me, if you could figure out how to do it on the simple side, you just applied that to the more complicated questions and you could usually get to the answer.
Right. There are like simple ways of figuring out math, which like some people just don't get. And some people don't get it till they're like much older. Like to me, I was out of school for maybe 5 or 6 years, and then I went to take some courses at MATC up in Wisconsin, and we had math involved. And for some reason, when I was more mature, it just came a little bit easier to me than it did in high school days.
For me, it would be either English or social studies, because geography specifically.
Yeah.
Because I am not good at all with geography. I don't know capitals. You hand me a map of Europe, I'm not going to be able to give you too much information outside of where the big players are. And even then, I might get close, but I might not be exactly right.
Did your mom ever get you that spinning globe for your room?
Oh, I had the globe. We had the placemat that was a map of the United States that I would eat off of when I was a kid. I had it all. It just didn't stick. And English was always a horrible subject to me. I could not get the synonyms, the antonyms, the definitions, things that I don't even fully remember. I just remember struggling with, and they would hand me the quiz and I would sit there and I'd rack my brain and it would be pure guesses up and down the line.
You didn't get your adjectives, but and your nouns and your pronouns and clauses, but I bet you knew all of the words to the Schoolhouse Rock classics, didn't you?
I knew some of them.
Yeah.
I knew some of those.
My actually it was an English teacher that used to say to us, it's funny how you kids can know every word to one of these hit songs and memorize it, to all of these love songs, which to him was so trivial, but you can't remember how to maybe use a noun in a sentence or use an adjective or go, you struggle with the English, but yet you will know every word of these ridiculous songs.
Yeah.
Is what he used to say.
Math took the top spot. A foreign language was number 2. And I probably wish I had paid more attention in Spanish class. I took 5 years of it. I should be a lot more fluent in it than I am. I barely can squeak out a couple of sentences. But for whatever reason, it's never bothered me that I don't have that. But foreign language is number 2. Science was number 3. I always liked science class.
Mm-hmm.
History class was number 4. I loved history class when I was in school.
We used to call it civics too, I think. History and civics included.
So what would they teach in the civics portion, like government?
Government and current events, worldly current events was involved in it. That was very interesting.
Yeah, I always loved history class, but I had good history teachers, I think. English was number 5, social studies at 6, music at 7, and physical fitness at number 8 on the list. And one of the things I thought was interesting was the older people who answered the survey were more likely to say that they should have focused more during history class, and young people were more likely to say that they wish they had focused more during music or gym class.
Okay, well, I guess I fall in that good in between of the young and old then, which doesn't make me feel bad.
The thing about history, one of the things that I've learned in the years since I've been out of high school is a lot of what they teach you in school isn't necessarily correct. And the other thing is history's changing all the time. We learn new things. We find documents. We have different takes. Historians debate things, and it's like science. It's constantly changing and evolving. And what might be accepted history 20 years ago, there might be a new understanding of it, and things kind of change. The motivations for why people did things, the certain things that we focus on, the things that we teach. So it's constantly changing. And I find that fascinating.
That's why I think I find it the most fascinating subject, because it's always subject to change, and you're always having to be learning it, and it really is always evolving.
Yeah. 8:56 is the time this morning. Treasure Coast News is next. Taking a look at our Treasure Coast News, school starts next Monday, and to get students and parents up to speed on the new busing policy in Martin County, School Superintendent Lori Gaylord and staff members will be holding a Facebook Live event today. The school district will continue to bus in students who live closer than 2 miles from their school up until the point that the student transfers schools. Parents can submit their questions to the Martin County School District Facebook page, and the Q&A will be held tonight at 5:15. Martin County Sheriff's Office Air 1 unit helped to find 2 missing divers late on Saturday. Their boat captain had called in stating that he was unable to locate them. The Air 1 unit was able to spot the pair of divers about 4 miles offshore, 6 miles south of the inlet, which was about a mile and a half away from their boat. The 2 were successfully rescued from the water and then taken back to dock. Neither diver was injured. Well, that's a look at our Treasure Coast News here this morning. Let's go ahead and get one last look at traffic with Bonnie.
And on the Treasure Coast, the traffic is clear right now. Heading out to work, you're going to find a nice ride. We don't have any accidents to report right here. And there's your latest look at traffic.
And that's going to do it for us here on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. Bonnie, have a great day.
You have a great day, too.
Make sure to check out our new website, WSTU1450.com. It's WSTU Stewart, 9 o'clock.